This is a tutorial for Dext Science Set 5.1. Hi, in this video, we are going to build a setup to demonstrate the formation of day and night. We are going to use the materials in compartment B5 2.1.1 and some materials from B5 2.1.3. So let's take these materials. So in this particular compartment, you're going to need not everything in there. We're going to need this plastic piece, which will serve as a piston. We're going to need our modified syringe barrel. We are also going to need some silicone tube and some valves. We are not going to need the modified bottle cap. We're going to put that back into its compartment. We'll get back to it later. So in order to build our setup, we are going to need to inflate a globe that has all the continents that form the Earth. But to inflate it, we are going to have to make a pump that will help us. We are going to use these materials to make ourselves a pump. We need a valve that will be as an air intake, and then we need a valve that will serve as an air outlet. You take your silicone tube off and remove this black band from your valve. After that, you're going to place your silicone tube onto your valve this way. Now after that, you're going to try and put your silicone tube into this hole on the modified syringe. Now mind you, this might be a little bit difficult and you might have to wiggle it around a bit and apply some force in order to get it to go through. But generally, make sure one part has already entered, and then you can try to push the other side to enter as well. Once you have it all entered, gently press on it. And if you see there's still a part sticking out, give it some more push, or simply use a pen to help you get everything into the hole. The reason why this is so tight is to prevent any air from escaping. So make sure a good portion of the silicone tube has entered the hole. And this is where air is going to enter into the barrel and then leave. So we're going to need another valve for the place where the air leaves. So we'll take the second valve and take our silicone tube off. And as we did for the earlier one, take the band off as well. We then place our silicone tube back, but this time we're going to place it on the side that has the thread. But before we do, let's go ahead and put the other part of the silicone tube onto our syringe. There's going to be a gap there. Make sure you push the silicone tube such that it sits flush with the face of the syringe. Again, this might take some effort, but if you wiggle it and keep pushing, you will be able to get it to sit flush. So it looks something like this. Good. Now once we have this, we're going to put our valve into the longer piece of silicone tube that we have, like this. Again, make sure you push the silicone tube all the way so that it climbs the next step on the valve, just like this. Now once you have this, the only part that will be left will be the threaded end, and then we go ahead and put that threaded end into our silicone tube, just like this. Now we have our setup complete. Now the next thing we're going to do is to place in the piston. When placing this in, be very careful and gentle so as not to damage it. Good. Now we have a simple pump. Air enters from one end and leaves from the other. Very simple pump. So as we pump, we draw in air and we push that air through from the other end. Very simple pump. Now that we have our pump, we can go ahead and blow our globe up. So let's unwrap that. You'd find that there is some string and some double-sided tape as well. Let's go ahead and open our globe up. You'd find that there is string and you also find some double-sided tape as well. Let's unwrap our globe. And then as you can see, there's an air inlet right here. And that is where we are going to pump our air through. So we take our nice little pump and place it into the air inlet. Give it a gentle push to make sure a good portion of the silicone tube has entered the air inlet. And then you're going to go ahead and start pumping. Now this is going to take quite a number of pumps, and so don't forget to rest if your arms are tired. Let's go ahead and pump until our balloon inflates. As our balloon inflates, it's going to get round and round and round. And keep pumping until you get a nice round ball. There we have it. We pumped up our globe and we can now see all of the continents nicely on our globe. This will represent the Earth in our day and night setup. So we have all the continents on our globe. Now that we have our globe up, we need to build the other setup. Now we're going to put this setup under a table. And so we are going to build all the other parts that will enable us to place this under a table. And we'll see the reason why it's going to be under a table soon. So we're going to get back to our globe after that. We're going to need some corrugated cardboard that will enable us build the other parts that will help us stick our globe under a table. So as always, we will have our double-sided tape. We're also going to need string and some scissors. Not forgetting a pencil and a ruler to help us cut everything to dimension. So we're going to cut some corrugated cardboard. That is 10 by 10. So this is a square that is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So as always, we are going to make some points and join those points with a neat line. We are going to measure our next 10 centimeters. We've cut this line to be about 20 centimeters so that we can get 2 of our 10 by 10 squares. So let's go ahead and measure. We measure our next 10. So at a point 10 and point 20. This will give us 2 of our 10 by 10 squares. We're going to get some more points so that we can join our points with a neat line. With this, we'll get 10 by 10 here and then another 10 by 10 right adjacent it. Now we're going to do just a little bit more dimensioning before we finally cut. We're going to measure 5 centimeters into each square. So that's about midway on each side. We're going to do this for both of our squares. We create some points and then we join our points with a neat line. Good. Now we have 10 by 10 and a nice line right at the center. We have 10 by 10 and a nice line right through the center. Now we can go ahead and cut. We're going to cut each square. Excellent. Before we go, we need to do one last dimension. We are going to measure 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter. Create some points and then join those points with a neat line. We are going to then cut our 1 centimeter of corrugated cardboard. It's always advisable that you cut this along the corrugation. So now we have our 2 squares. We are then going to measure 1 centimeter from the side of each square. 1 centimeter from the side of along the line that we cut in the middle, the line that we drew in the middle. We're going to measure 1 centimeter along the line that we drew through the middle of our squares. Now once you've measured the 1 centimeter, you're going to go ahead and cut a slit just to about that 1 centimeter mark using a pair of scissors. And we are going to do this for both squares. Now both of our squares are ready. The next thing we are going to do is to cut some double-sided tape and place them on our squares. The length of double-sided tape we are going to cut is 9 centimeters. 9 centimeters. You're going to cut 2 of such tapes for each square. So each square will have 2 9-centimeter double-sided tapes. Now that we are done with that, we're going to prepare the other part of our setup. Now you're going to roll up your corrugated cardboard, your 1 centimeter corrugated cardboard. You're going to roll it up. Now you're going to roll up your 1 centimeter corrugated cardboard. You're going to gently roll it up like this to form a form of a tube or a cylinder. After we are done rolling it, we are going to measure about 3 centimeters and cut that off. So we measure 3 centimeters and cut off. We're going to try and roll it a little bit more just to make sure it looks as close to a cylinder as possible. Once we are done with that, we are going to place some double-sided tape on it. So place some double-sided tape around it like this. For now, we're going to leave it just like this. We will come back to it later. So all of our setups are almost ready. Now let's go get a table. So now you're going to place our globe under a table. One part of our square will come here and the other side will come down. So we have one square coming up and then that square coming down. So we'll have a string from the square that is attached to the top onto the balloon, and then another string coming from the base of the balloon onto the base of our table. So let's go ahead and get our string. Now the best way to do this is to attach a part of the string to the top of your table and gently let it go until it touches the floor. Now once you have this, you can double that dimension like this. And then you can cut. We will have a long piece of string. And we can fold that up again and then we can cut. So we have 2 pieces of string. both of which are approximately the length of the table. Now we're going to take one of our squares and before we attach a string to it, we're going to pass the string through the air inlet of the balloon so we can lift the balloon using the string like this. Now we're going to have two ends of our string and that is going to come to the base of the table. So we take one of our squares and with the side with the double-sided tape pointing upwards, we place our strings to the slits which we cut earlier. You gently place your strings through the slits that we've cut already. You should be able to hold your setup like this, and then this is going to go under your table. So now you can peel off your double-sided tape. You can then stick the string in the opposite direction like this, and the other one in the other direction, just like this. Let's make sure there are no strings dangling around to make our setup neat. Now attach this square with your string and double-sided tape to the base of the table. Attach it under the table. So attach this square, your double-sided tape and the string under your table. So you should be able to have your globe hanging like this. You have your nice globe hanging like this. Now the next part would be from the bottom of the balloon to the ground. So to do that, we are going to remove the white part of our double-sided tape on the piece that we rolled up. Now once you have it looking like this, you're going to take your other piece of string and you're going to place it on it like this. So neatly place it on your double-sided tape like this. And place this in the base of your balloon. Gently push this to the base of the balloon. And then you should have your string like this hanging. Now you're going to place the other square just as we did earlier. In this case, before we remove our double-sided tape, let's try and gently move our square until it touches the ground. And then let's move it slightly to our left. Move it slightly to our left. This will give the globe a bit of a tilt. And then once you've done that, you will know at what point the string will allow you. Now you can move your double-sided tape. Once you've removed your double-sided tape, you can make sure your strings are attached to the double-sided tape. and then you can fix the square onto the ground, moving it slightly so that your globe is tilted. Now, the reason for this is because the Earth is tilted. The Earth is slightly tilted along its axis. So now that we have our Earth, we can get a source of light. It could be a phone, it could be a torchlight. And the part of the globe where the light is directly facing is the part that has day. The part that does not have the light, or the part that is not facing the light, is in the night. And as the globe spins, representing how the Earth spins, different continents are in day and night. So as you can see, whilst one continent is facing the light source, the other continent might be facing the other direction, which means that continent will be in the night. So as the globe spins, now you can see Africa is in the day. Now later Africa goes into night and another continent comes into day. So you can spin your globe and see how the Earth rotates, and different continents are day and different continents are night. So here we have a beautiful setup that illustrates how the Earth is tilted, how it spins, and how day and night occurs. As always, this has been an activity using the Dext Science Set 5.1.